Namaskar, everybody. Let us begin with a prayer. This is on page 92 of this book, The Universal Prayers, the second one on page 92. This is from the Adhyatma Ramayanam. Om Aham prapannosmi padam bhujam prabho bhavapavargam tava yogi bhavitam yaccāgnamaparavaridhim sukham tarishyami tathanushadhi mam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, I seek shelter of your holy feet, which yogins ever meditate upon, and which verily sever all shackles that bind man to earth. Please show unto me the way by which I may truly cross this shoreless ocean of ignorance and suffering with ease. Om, peace. May there be peace within us all. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. May there be peace everywhere in nature. So last time we studied the shlokas 7 to 11, where Bhagavan Sri Krishna reveals that he himself has become all the beings. Sloka number 7 says, Mamayavamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. A part of me alone has become the jivas, all the living beings. Part means only in a figurative sense. The Lord cannot have parts, he is infinite. Infinity cannot be broken into small parts. So from our perspective, it appears that we are all separate from each other. He is present in all of us, same one being present in all, but appears to be different because our body minds are different, containers are different. This we knew before from 13th chapter. In the 13th chapter, in the second verse, Bhagavan Sri Krishna had already said, I am the one kshetrajna present in all the kshetras. Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Sarva kshetreshu means in all the bodies, all different beings, human beings, animals, plants, and all bodies, including inanimate bodies like the sun and all of nature. Sarva kshetreshu mam kshetrajnam viddhi. One important line in the Gita. Second shloka of chapter 13. Know me to be the one kshetrajna. Kshetrajna means the indwelling spirit in all the kshetras, the divine presence in all the kshetras. He is only one. He appears to be divided into parts. That's from our perspective. We see the difference. That was further explained in the 16th shloka of the 13th chapter. There he says, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha sthitam. Bhuteshu, in all the beings. Vibhaktam iva, as if he is divided into different parts. Sthitam, he is avibhakta. Avibhakta means he is indivisible. You can't divide God into parts and put one part in each different beings. That's not, it's absurd to think like that. Just as space. The nearest example is space. Space appears to be divided in different containers. The space in this cup is different from space in the room. Space is different. In the room is different from space upstairs and outer space. It appears like that to us because the containers are different. This cup is different, the cup is different, the room is different. But really, it's all one continuum, cannot have parts. Avibhaktam, he is indivisible. However, bhuteshu vibhaktam iva sthitam. Iva means as if he is divided. Vibhaktam iva is present. So that was the explanation in shloka number 7 of chapter 15. 7, 10, 8, 9, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've been forgetting how to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the next topic from shloka numbers 12 to 15, 4 shlokas in chapter 15, they deal with the omnipresence of God. Sarvatmakatvam. Sarvatmakatvam means is present in all beings. That has come already many times before, but specifically in these 4 shlokas, 12 to 15, his omnipresence, his presence in all beings is being explained. So let us do shloka number 12. Yadādityagataṃ tejo jagadbhāsayate.akhilam yaccandramasi yaccāgnau tattejo viddhi māmakam. This is already come before in the 7th shloka, 7th chapter, 7th chapter. There, Bhagavan Shri Krishna has said in 1/4 of a shloka, pada of a shloka, Prabha asmi shashi suryayoho. This shloka number 8 in chapter 7. Chapter 7, verse 8. The same thing he had said before. Prabha asmi shashi suryayoho. Shashi means moon, Surya means sun. In the moon and the sun, aham prabha asmi, I am the effulgence. Prabha means effulgence. The brightness that sun has, moon has, is his presence, indication of his presence. So here the same thing comes in the 12th verse of chapter 15. Yadādityagataṃ teja, adityagataṃ teja. Teja means the brightness, effulgence, power of God that makes the sun so bright. And the energy, infinite amount of energy sun produces, heat and light, is all God's power. In the same way, in all beings, not only sun. Some examples are given. You can't give all the examples, then it will be infinite. Every being, whatever is there, God's presence is there. It manifests itself in different ways in different beings. Prabha jagadādityagataṃ tejaha akhilam jagadbhāsayate. Akhilam jagat means this whole universe, at least this part of the universe, solar system. Bhāsayate, it light enlightens, it produces, illumines. It illumines the sun, the brightness in the sun illumines all the other beings, all the planets and the beings in the planets. Everything on the earth is only sunlight, assuming different forms. The cloth I am wearing, what is this? It's sunlight. Because of sun's power, the cotton grew in the field, and it was converted into this cloth. All our bodies are because of sunlight. They can't exist. None, not a cell can exist without power of sun. It pervades the whole being. It illumines the whole world. Akhilam jagat bhāsayate. Yaccandramasi. Chandrama means moon. In Chandrama, in moon, yaccāgnau, the power in the fire to burn everything, the power in the moon to convert blazing hot sunlight into soothing cool moonlight that nourishes plants. That is God's power in the moon. The power in the fire to burn everything is God's power in the fire. Earlier, there was a story about in the Kena Upanishad. We can visit that story briefly again. Let us finish the shloka 12. Tattejo māmakam viddhi. Māmakam means mind. Know that power in the sun, moon, and fire to be my power, God's power. There is no other source of power. Whatever is functioning anywhere in this universe is because of God's power in the being. It manifests differently in different ways. I gave an example. Suppose take the example of electricity. Electricity is what makes all the appliances function. It functions, same current flows in all the different appliances, but in each appliance it plays a different part, functions differently. How? Supposing there is an outlet here with two. One outlet in the kitchen, one a coffee maker is plugged, and the second one, a toaster is plugged. Both function. The same current flows in both of them. One current, electric current. But in this toaster, electricity makes toast. That means if you put a piece of bread, it becomes heat is supplied. It produces heat and the bread becomes toast. In the coffee maker, it makes coffee. You put all the ingredients, coffee powder, water, and turn on the switch, and coffee is brewed. Nice aroma when coffee is brewing on the whole place, and you get coffee. The power is the same. Electricity, same electricity in the toaster, same electricity in the coffee maker, same electricity in all the lights, and so many other appliances we have in different big factories. All that is run by electricity. In a factory manufacturing garments, clothes, same electricity makes them makes clothes. When I was visiting Kashmir many years ago, there not Kashmir. Yes, I went to Amritsar in Punjab, not Kashmir. There, I stayed with a Punjabi family, nice host. They took me to the Golden Temple at night, very beautiful, most holy place. Then during the day, that gentleman owned a factory which makes shawls that people wear. So he took me to that factory. And there, it's all nowadays all computerized. People don't undo the cloth as they used to do before in the looms, hand loom. No. All design is made in the computer and the disc is put in the machine and that decides the design. Beautiful shawls come out. All is done by electricity. If there is no power supply, no machine will can work. See how one power perform different functions, appears, manifests differently in different machines. In the same way, in human beings, so many people, 7+ billion people, in all of them, same one power is there. Same power, same electricity in all the appliances. In each of them, it manifests in a different way. Somebody is a bodybuilder and most wonderful body, huge muscles and beautifully shaped, sculpted. In that person, God's power appears that way. In a basketball player, ability to play basketball, God's power manifests in that way. But unfortunately, people misuse that God's power. It is known that bodybuilders die very early. They become all their organs begin to malfunction. They don't live very long. They have their lifespan for the short-lived uh, beauty of the body. Same thing about NFL players. The average lifespan of NFL players, National Football League players, is 10 years less than the average lifespan of Americans. So that is God's power manifests in them in that way. So in different beings, in animals it manifests in different way. In a bird, it can fly in the air. God's power, same power in me, but I cannot fly in the air. I can speak, but the bird cannot speak. Like that. In different ways, God's power manifests in different beings in different ways, but one power. So coming back to sloka number 12, yadādityagataṃ tejo jagadbhāsayate.akhilam yaccandramasi yaccāgnau tattejo viddhi māmakam. Equally present in all, but manifest in different ways. The Kenopanishad story illustrates this. It's a short story. There are frequent battles between gods and demons. You heard the story before. The gods became very proud when they won. And they all assembled in Indra's court and they were all feeling very good, congratulating themselves. At that time, when Yaksha comes and stands near the door of Indra's court in the form of an old man. Everybody looked at him, but they were wondering how he could come here. There is no ordinary people cannot enter that kingdom of Indra. So Indra says to Agni, um, go and find out who it is. Agni was very proud. We had won over the Rakshasas because of my power, he was thinking. Then Agni was with arrogance and asked the old man, who are you? The old man says, you tell me who you are first. Nobody had told that to Agni. We don't go near Agni, we respect him from a distance. Agni was confronted. He felt affront. He says, "No, who are you? This man is challenging me. Don't you know? I am Agni, the power of fire. I can. What can you do?" The old man is. I can burn everything. Don't you know? That's so. Then burn this one. The Yaksha kept a piece of straw and asked Agni to burn it. This one? You're kidding. I can burn the whole cities and towns and everything. Then burn it. Then Agni applies heat. Nothing happens. It remains cool. That piece of straw could burn. Applies more heat. No. Then maximum heat. No. He couldn't burn it. Then he becomes crestfallen, goes back and sits down. Couldn't figure out who that man is. Indra asks Vayu, can you go and find out? Vayu, oh, Agni does not know anything I can figure out. Very proud. He goes and asks the Yaksha, who are you? Who are you? Yaksha says, oh, you tell me who you are first, then I will tell you. You are challenging me. Don't you know I am the god of wind? What can you do? I can move everything and dry everything. Whole towns and cities I can reduce to rebels. Is that so? Then move this one. Same piece of straw. Why you place wind, the power, pressure doesn't move. More wind power? No, he couldn't move it. And he goes back defeated and sits down in his seat. Indra by this time knew that this Yaksha is not an ordinary piece. It must be God himself coming and disguised. So Indra goes with humility and says, please reveal your true nature. And by the time Indra asked that Yaksha disappeared. At least the Vayu and Agni could have a conversation, but Indra couldn't even do that one. As soon as he went and asked, and in his place, where Yaksha was standing, Divine Mother Uma Parvati stands there. Then Indra bows down to her, and then she says, "You people are feeling so proud because you won this battle with the Rakshasa this time. Many times you have been defeated. Whose power? Not your power. It's God's power in you that enabled you to win. Everything happens by the power of God. That's the message of that story. So this is a very important point. Comes in many places in the Upanishads also. There is a very famous hymn in the Upanishad telling the same thing that comes in several Upanishads. As far as I know, it comes in the Mundaka Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, some other place it may come. That is chanted in the some homes during puja and in all Hindu temples. When they do the Nirajanam, camphor waving, at the end of the puja, the priest chants this hymn. Most of the people watching the puja, they don't recognize it, but this hymn comes. That is 4 lines in the mantra. It says, "Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhanti, kutoyam agnihi, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati." Most beautiful hymn. Swami Vivekananda has cited this hymn. He called this the most beautiful hymn in the Upanishads. Swami Ranganathananda also. Very nice hymn. Nice to study it and memorize it. Tasya bhasa, by his effulgence. Pa means effulgence, power. Idam sarvam vibhati, this whole universe shines. He is shining, whole universe shines. The sun cannot shine it. Tatra surya nabhati. Sun gets his power to shine because of God's power. Sun cannot shine, make God visible. God's power is infinitely greater. Yes. Then moon cannot shine it. Nachandra tarakam. Tarakam means the lightning cannot. Lightning gets its power to shine because of God's power. Name vidyuto bhanti kuto yam agnihi. From where does Agni get his power? The same source, God. Tameva bhantam, as he is shining, God, idam sarvam vibhati. Tasya bhasa idam sarvam vibhati. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. That is the message in this shloka. Everything is present in everything, including a small ant moving on the ground. In every cell in our body. Every cell functions. Lot of intelligence is encoded in every cell. Cell biologists tell us so many things are happening in the cell. We don't see, it's too tiny to. We can't see with a cell with unaided eye. In electron microscope, you can see a cell. Nice big image. It magnifies the cell almost 1,000,000 times. You can see what's happening. So many things are happening in a single cell. 4 to 6 million cells are there in 1 cubic centimeter of blood. Such tiny thing. In that, God's power is functioning all the time, 24 hours. That's how we are alive. Our bodies are alive. Every cell is functioning. If the cell is not functioning properly, there is sickness and a problem. So whose power is that? That makes the cell function so many things. God's power. So we have to recognize God's power in all and everything. And respect, bow down to all and everything because it's by God's power, God's presence in that being. There is no being where God is not present. In the tree, in animals, in plants. Take the example of a cow. A cow, here they in the dairy farm, they feed all kinds of things in a assembly line fashion. And in India, the cows run about freely, free range. They eat grass and whatever people give, vegetable peelings and water in which rice has been washed, all these things are given and they eat the same thing. What did the cows produce? Nutritious milk. What is the input? All kinds of things. What is the power in the cow? That takes all these ordinary things, whatever is fed to it, and produces nutritious milk. God's power. That will come in the 14th verse here. 14. Yes, we'll come to that later. Same thing in you take a tree, mango tree, for example. Mango trees are cultivated in orchards, but the mango tree grows in the wild in India. What is the input? Rainwater. Nobody puts fertilizer, whatever nutrition from the soil, air and sunlight. What does it produce? Beautiful, luscious, tasty mangoes. What is the power in the mango tree? Other people, animals cannot, trees cannot produce mango. They produce different things. All because of God's power in everything. From the smallest atom, where so many things are happening, atom can't even see it. God's power. In the sun, till the sun, illuminating the whole world here, producing, sustaining life on this planet. That power in the sun is God's power, manifesting in a different way. In the Upanishad, it says, yadādityagataṃ sa ekaha, what is in this individual being is same as what is in the sun, Aditya, one source of power. So that is the message in this sloka number 12. Present in all, sarvatmakatvam, omnipresence of God, making everything function. Now we go to sloka number 13. Two examples are given in sloka number 13. Gamavishya cha bhutani dharayamyagamojasa pushnami chaushadhi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Two examples are given. First one is Ga. Ga means earth, another name for earth. Ga Prithvi. Avishya, entering or being present in the earth. What does he do? The Lord does. Bhutani dharayami aham ojasa. Ojas means power. By God's power, he says, sarvani bhutani dharayami characharani. All beings, moving and unmoving beings, he enables them to live in the earth. Earth sustains everything. From earth we come, on earth our whole life drama happens, and into earth we go back. 24 hours you are depending on earth for everything. Source of life. What is that power in the earth that sustains all living? Not only people, animals, plants and trees, everything is on earth. They all come from earth and go back to earth. Part of nature. God's power in the earth. Gam avishya, entering earth, I sustain all beings, sarvani bhutani, dharayami, I sustain them. In second example is somo bhutva. Soma means moon. In the moon, God's power, aushadhi sarva pushnami. Aushadhi means all the plants. The examples are given. Vrihi yavaha, that means plants, especially those which are used for food, all the grains, barley and other grains. They are all sustained by the moon. The moon is called rasatmakaha. Rasatmakaha means I foster all plants and herbs, becoming the moon with its essence of sap. Rasa means essence. The essence in all the plants is from the moon. The moon carries the essence. Moonlight that nourishes all the plants, and the plants nourish people and beings, animals and human beings. Source of nourishment is the moon. Pushnami means I nourish. Sarvaha aushadhi, all the plants. Somo bhutva, somo rasatmaka bhutva. In the moon, I, being present as the nourisher of all the beings, I nourish all the plants. They in turn nourish other beings, people and animals, other beings. This is all God's power. In the earth, in the moon, the sun, everywhere. In all the beings, to the smallest cell or atom. God's power only. Doing different things, manifesting differently. Okay, now we go to shloka number 14. Very interesting shloka. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapanasamaयुक्तः Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. Aham, the Lord is speaking. Vaishvanara Bhutva. Vaishvanara is the digesting power Agni in bodies of living animals and people, plants also. We all digest food. What is the power of digestion? Comes from presence of God in us. Vaishvanara Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. Ashrita means I have occupied, I have taken refuge. I am present in the bodies of all pranis. Pranis means those things which are prana, living beings. In stones and non-living beings, there is no food digestion, nothing. God's presence is there, but it is not doing this function of digestion. In people, animals and plants, digesting happen. They take in food and produce energy and produce themselves. That's how this happens in living beings. What is the power that happens in that enables all living beings to absorb some food, different kinds of food, convert it into energy and the cells of the body? God's power in all the beings. So some beings are, because of the defect in the hardware, they are malfunctioning, sick people. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashitaha. What does the Lord do there as Vaishvanara? What is the function? Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachami Annam Chaturvidham. Four kinds of food. Chaturvidham Annam Pachami. I digest. Pachami means I digest. First person. How does he digest food? Pranapana Samayuktaha. In association with the five pranas. What does the prana has five functions? They are not different pranas. One source of power performing five different functions. Prana manifests in different ways, in different doing different functions in the body. Human body, you can see clearly all these five pranas functioning. Prana apana samayukta in association with prana and apana, and other three also can be included. Three pranas, pancha prana. The Lord digests all kinds of food. Chaturvidham annam pachami. Now, first of all, let us go what are the four kinds of food that he is talking about. We have our own classification of food. We have carbohydrates, we have protein and fat and saturated fat, all those different kinds of classification from our point of view. But here, food is divided into four classes, depending upon how they are imbibed. So they are in the commentary here. Chaturvidham annam. The four kinds of food are what is masticated. That means bhojyam, something that we chew. Yeah, it's stated here. Bhojya means what is masticated. Is Shankara's commentary. And in different books, is it different? What is bhojya?
It says here that which has to be sucked in is bhojya, And food which has to be eaten by mastication is bhakshyam. Bhakshyam.
Bhaksham. For bhakshya here it is something that is followed. It may be the other way,
Yeah. Okay.
but it is how it is written here.
Okay.
Bhakshyam bhojam chosyam lehyam.
Mhm.
But that he does not explain what they are in the commentary. The translator adds these things in English. Anyway, four kinds of food are something that is chewed, something that is swallowed, like liquid. Then you need to chew it when you drink water. Something that is licked, like ice cream cone. You just lick that one. And then something that is sucked. Sometimes they, when some certain kinds of mango, they don't cut and make into pieces. They make a small hole and crush it and suck that
They call
essence,
it chosa because you suck it.
like that. So depending upon how food is, we don't classify that now. Doesn't matter how we classify according to our own system, protein and carbohydrate and all those things. They're different way of classifying. Anyway, all kinds of food. Chaturvidam annam, all kinds of food. Pachami, I digest. Food, we eat the nice dinner, watch a little TV and go to bed. Then his work begins. All night, when we are sleeping, he's digesting the food. He does it. We are not digesting the food by our own effort. It happens in the body naturally without our effort. Our effort is only in getting the food and eating it and enjoying the taste and oh, nice, sweet and dessert, everything. Then our work is done. His work begins. The moment it enters into the body, God's work begins. He becomes active. Uh, we are not aware of it. He does quietly. We are sleeping. He's working all night. How does he do that one? In association with the pranas. Prana apana samayuktaha. Prana means five functions. Prana means vyana, udana, samana, uh, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. Five. So they all have different functions. Same one prana doing different things in the body. Prana means the breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. The most essential function because without breathing, no life. So that is the power of God that enables us to breathe in and out. Prana. Apana means the same power that pushes unwanted waste products out of the body. Eliminate very important function. Without otherwise the problem will be there. Through the downward outlets, the power that pushes the unwanted material is God's power in the form of downward force. Apana. Then the third is pranapana vyana. Vyana means the power that enables all the body functions, parts to function. Every cell in the body functions because of prana, but they all have different functions. The cell in the eye does different function than the cell in the nose, different function than cell in the hand, which touching. Each cell has its own function in the body, depending upon where it is. And each cell knows where it is and what function it has to do. That is the beauty. How it is designed is fantastic. If you imagine, how does this cell in one part of the body know exactly its function, does that function? And the cell in other part of the body has totally different function it does. How do the cells know what they have to do, where they are and what they have to do? This God's power, intelligence. His power is there in every cell, enabling to do its specific function. The stem cells are generic function. They are before they occupy any particular organ, they are in a generic way. When they reach the organ, they know what they do there exactly. So that is why prana, apana, vyana. Udana means the upward ejection. For example, when the by mistake we take something that does not agree with the body rejects it. But some power has to push it out, otherwise it will stay in the stomach, creating more trouble, that unwanted material. So Udana Vayu pushes it powerfully, then we throw up, vomiting. Otherwise it will stay there, but unwanted food, poison or whatever. No, that is dangerous. It's God's power. Udana Vayu, that pushes unwanted material out up in the upward direction. Udana Apana means downward direction. Pranapana Vyana Udana. Last one is Samana. Samana is that power in the body which digests the food that we eat, distributes it to all parts of the body. Somebody has to do the digestion. Samana means all parts of the body are nourished by digesting the food that we take in. We have to eat all kinds of food, sometimes more than needed, sometimes unnecessary, sometimes wrong time we eat. But God does digest every food that we eat, separates them, sends the nutritious parts to various parts of the body, nutritious a portion of the food, unwanted waste material sends it out to the body. These are important functions. If one of these functions is not working properly, then sickness, body will become sick. So who does all these things? Aham Maishwanaro Bhutva. The Lord is doing all this. We don't know, we don't appreciate. He does so much more work, nourishes us, sustains every moment. God's power is enabling us to live. Without God's power, no organ functions, no living being can live. That is God's power, omniscience. So we have to recognize. Then it becomes easier when you think about these things. Then we realize, oh, He's present in me, doing all these things. I did not know. Same thing in other beings. He is there. So the omnipresence of God becomes easier to understand with these examples. If I simply say God is present in all, how is He present? How do you know He's present? If you give this example, see what He's doing. Then His presence becomes easy to understand. Appreciate God's presence in all. Very graphic, nice help of examples how Bhagavan is explaining the omnipresence of God. Becomes easy for us to recognize God's presence in all and everything. So when you see God's presence in all, that's the goal of Vedanta. In everyone He is present. And we should have the eyes, vision to see God's presence, appreciate. That is very important shloka in this. Also, what it means is, it will come in the next sloka also. Eating should be done as if we are worshipping. Every morsel of food that we take to the mouth is an ahuti we are making to the Vaishwanara Agni. It's like as if we are doing a homa, havana ceremony. So much people do havan every day, chanting Gayatri Mantra, offering, making offerings. Same thing is happening when we eat food. Agni is there, Vaishwanara Agni, God is present there, waiting to serve us. When you put the food in the mouth, it goes and reaches him. Then he receives it, and the digestion happens. Whole body is nourished. Every brain cell gets nourishment because of God's power. Then everything happens. So eating should be done as if you are offering ahuti, offering to the Lord with devotion, with a pure mind. When we eat, we should think about God. Some people observe silence while eating. Buddhist monks, they don't talk when they're eating. They're supposed to maintain silence. And some people chant God's name before eating. In the northern part of India, Uttarakhand, everywhere, people chant the whole of 15 chapter before eating. And one of our devotees is almost memorized 15th chapter. I don't say who it is. You have to guess. One devotee in Maryland, other devotees in Raleigh, I don't know what they are doing. That person has memorized almost all 15 chapter. I'll give you a hint. Somewhere in the Gita, Bhagwan has said that women have better memories, very good memories. Smriti. In Gita, we have studied that one. If you find out, there's also homework for you. Find out where in the Gita God has said that women have much better memory and other virtues. Memory, power of expression, forbearance. They can bear much more pain than men. They do. All these qualities are in the women. Among them, memory, short memory they have. So that's a hint to find out who that person could be. And then also a homework for you to find out where in the Gita he has said this one. Which sloka, which chapter. Next week you can give me the answer. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayuktah Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. Becoming the fire Vaishvanara, and dwelling in the bodies of living beings, together with the in breath and the out breath, I digest the fourfold food, four kinds of food, all kinds of food. Now we go to sloka number 15. This is the most important sloka describing the omnipresence of God. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishtaha मत्तस्मृतिज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम्. It's a different meter from the Anushtam. When the topic is very important, the poet uses a different meter. It stands out as an important verse. Here, Sarvasya Hridi Aham Sannivishtaha. This idea has come many times before. God is present in all. Sarvasya Hridi. Hrit means Hridaya, heart. In the hearts of all, I am present. Aham Sannivishta. I have taken refuge. I am present there. The Lord is saying. Mattaham, from me, Smriti Jnanam Apohanam cha. We have many things happening in the body mind. Three things are ability to remember, Smriti. Smriti, because of God's power. Elephants have very short memory, they say. And Smriti, Jnanam, knowledge. We have ability to gain and retain knowledge. Some more, some less. But ability is there. Apohanam means forgetfulness. That is also we all have. How they are related to a power of God. It says in the commentary, Punya karmanam punya karmanurodhena jnana smriti bhavataha. Punya karma means a person who does virtuous deeds. Some people do all kinds of deeds, wrong action they take, wrong choices they make, but many people do stay on the right path and do dharmic actions, virtuous actions. Punya karmanam punya karmanurodhena, according to the uh, good deeds that they do, merit to, according to the acts of merit that they do, what happens to them? Smriti, knowledge and memory, smriti jnanam, knowledge and memory happen. Good people who are virtuous, good people, they generally have more knowledge, more understanding, more wisdom, and more memory. Smriti jnanam. By the power of God. How does it happen? By the power of God. Then where does apohanam come? Apohanam is forgetfulness. Where does that come? He says, Tatha papa karmanam papa karma rupena smrtigyanayo apohanam cha apayanam apagamanam cha. Papa karmanam, those people who do sinful deeds, for them, they can't remember who they are, what should be done, what should not be done. Lack of memory. That comes in a second chapter also. Smriti, in the second chapter, sloka 60 to 63, people who do not control their anger and lust, they lose memory. That comes here. Papa karmana, those people who do bad deeds, they cannot remember what is right, what is to be done. They end up doing bad things. They forget. Forgetfulness comes. We should all remember God is within us. Vedanta says you are God. We should remember I am God, but that is too high. Right now, I'm a body consciousness. At least we should remember God is present within me and everybody. That memory of God's presence will not be there for bad people. They don't think about God. They do end up doing all kinds of that forgetfulness because of their bad karma. That also happens. Vartasmrti jnanam apohanam cha Vedesha sarvairahame vedyo. By all the Vedas, I am the object to be known. What is the subject of all the Vedas? God. The whole Veda, all scriptures talk about God. It's only up topic in the scriptures is God. What else is there? Nature of God and how to experience God's presence. These are all topics in the scriptures, Vedas. Vedaischa Vedairahame vedyo. I am the only one to be known by the Vedas. Vedanta Veda Vedevachaham. Vedanta means I am the creator of the Vedas, creator of knowledge. Veda means knowledge. How did knowledge originate? At the time of creation, it originated. When the Lord created this, brought this creation into existence, at the same time, He created knowledge. That comes in the earlier chapter. It's the Lord who created the knowledge. Apaurushaya. People did not create knowledge. It came later. People imbibed it and spread it and distributed it and learned. But the creator of all knowledge is Lord Himself. So, Vedanta Krit, I am the creator of all knowledge. Veda Videvachaham, I am the knower of all the Vedas. Vedavit means one who knows the Veda. God knows all the Vedas. We know a little part of that one. What we study, what we can understand and retain, is a very small part of the universe of knowledge. Universe of knowledge is infinite, but how much of it can we absorb, understand, assimilate, and retain? Small part of it. Everyone, some more, some less. So that is all because of God's power. Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto matta pratigyanam smritigyanam apohanam cha vedaisya sarvairahame vedyo vedanta krid veda videva chaham. The sarvasya hridayam sannivishta, first part, is already mentioned in many different slokas in the Gita so far. It will come later also. For example, chapter 13, verse sloka 27. There Lord had said, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all the beings, samam tishtantam parameshwaram, is present equally. There is no partiality. He is not present more in some, less in others. Why then some people don't feel at all? Some people fully experience God's presence, and we are not able to feel God's presence. So we are trying, because the quality of the mind. His presence is constant. Some people have purified their mind by practicing spiritual sadhana, and their mind is more powerful, very sukshma, and it can perceive, experience God's presence more. Some people in between, some people not at all. So that comes in the Upanishads. Why some people can know God's presence, experience God's presence? Why not others? Is present, we say we are present in all in the same way. God says, I am samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. If it's present equally, everybody should feel his presence equally? No, because our instrument of perception, mind, is not equally efficient in all. In a class, if you are teaching a say high school class, there are 30 students in your class. Is everybody in the same way? Some students are A plus students. Whatever you say, they absorb and do well. Some people get a C and D, some F. So much variation from person to person. God is present in all of them. Teacher gives the same lesson. Teacher gives the same lecture, same material, same notes, same assignments. But one is A plus student and another is a D student. Why? And all in between people. That is each person's ability to absorb knowledge and understand and retain, assimilate, varies. It can be changed. You don't have to be the student always. By working hard and discovering if there is any learning disability, by remedying it, everybody can get in it. But it's not possible. They don't do it. In the same way, God is present in all of us in the same way. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram, 1327. But everyone has the same potential to know God. Swamiji said each soul is potentially divine. Each soul is. None, everyone is divine because He is present in everyone. But everyone is not experiencing that divinity in the same way at the same time. It depends upon us. So that's why I seek holy company. Holy people are those who have experienced God's presence. And by seeking their company, we also will get that ability. Whatever company we keep, that quality we will get. If I associate myself with all evil kind of people, then I will not become one of them. If I associate myself with holy people, I will become one of them. I'm influenced positively by the holy person's personality. So that is why, again and again, Sri Ramakrishna says, holy company you should cultivate. Satsanga. So that is why everybody does not feel God's presence in the same way. But everybody can feel the potential is there. But we have to do some work. Some people have to do more work. For some, they are very close. They, with a little sadhana, they can achieve realization. But everybody can, and everybody will and should. That's our destiny. God is there. We have to reach that goal sooner or later, in matter of time. Ved asarvasya chaham hridisannivishtaha. That comes in many places throughout the Gita. Omnipresence of God. 1327 we saw. Then in 10th chapter, sloka number 20, there Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhutashayasthitaha. O Gudakesha, O Arjuna, he calls Arjuna Gudakesha in this sloka. Why? What does it mean? One who has conquered sleep. Arjuna could remain awake when needed for as long as necessary. We just we become tired and want to sleep, fall asleep. Even during class, some people fall asleep in schools and Vedanta class also. I myself am a good example. Many times I have fallen asleep in Vedanta lectures. Now I try to remain, it's improved. I don't fall asleep as much now. But earlier it was more. So Arjuna had conquered it, sleep. He could remain awake, alert for as long as necessary. So Ahamatma Gudakesha, O Gudakesha Arjuna, Sarvabhuta Shayasthitaha, present in all the beings as the self. Atma, Ahamatma, the self of all beings is God Himself. One God present in infinite number of beings. Vibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam. So that is the conclusion of this segment, Sarvatmakatvam. There, although this has come many times before in other chapters also, going to come in the 18th chapter also. Here it is specifically highlighted from 12 to 15 in the 4 slokas. The topic is the presence of God in all the beings without exception. How in each being His presence is manifested differently. Just like electricity present in all the appliances, but manifest differently in different appliances. In some it does this one, in the hair dryer it dries the hair, in the drying machine it dries the clothes, and the dishwasher it washes the dishes. Same electricity. Same way in different beings, God's power appears manifest differently. In people, maximum. Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel, God's power is most clearly manifest in human beings. Though is present in animals, in plants, His presence is very clearly visible in human beings, especially those human beings which are holy people. They have clearly experienced God's presence. Even if you simply go near them, they don't have to say anything or do anything. We feel the peace and joy radiating from them. This power of God. So we can all do that one. We should all we have to do that one. That's our destiny. So we shall stop here. Next time, in the next segment 16 to 18, Brahmanaha Purushottamatvat, supremacy of God above all beings. We'll study that one. So let me chant 15 once. Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishtaha मत्तस्मृतिज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम्. I am the Lord. I am the Veda. I am the creator of the Vedas. I am the object to be known by all the Vedas. That's the very nice verse 15, 12 to 15. So let me say the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May all be happy. May all be free from diseases, ill health, and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble and auspicious. May no one be subject to any kind of misery. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony among all the beings, no ill will, no hatred. Adi Bhautika Shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well. God willing, we shall see you all next week. 12, 13, 14, 15.